Hey guys, super quick video here today for you guys. I just want to cover the new set changes that happened seemingly overnight on Saturday in regards to the Superstar Origin sets. This is going to dramatically impact the cost and value of the new Master Set players, and I released some videos covering, the value of all the Master Sets and just the event as a whole. And the new sets kind of drastically change the outlook I have on it, and I just want to make sure you guys are aware because there is still a little over a day to take advantage of the cost currently. So for anyone that wasn't aware, the Superstar Origin event kicked off as the launch of the game, and when we were covering and going over all of the sets and how the actual cost to make the master items here, it was extremely cheap, and I'm talking like the cheapest EA has ever released a set, and it looked like for the first time free-to-play players were really going to be able to take advantage of the cost of these cards and allow players to get multiple of them early on in the game at least. And again, I was actually pretty stunned. I think that the cost for these sets to make Yager and Matthews, as well as Seth Jones and Victor Hedman, was actually quite cheap, almost too cheap. And the reason why I say too cheap is because at the cost currently, you were allowing everyone to basically collect every single card from the event, and the danger you run there is every team by the next month looks exactly the same. So while I do think that they might have been on the too cheap end, the drastic change that happened overnight on Saturday was a little too much. So let's cover what basically happened here. So if you go to sets now and you go over to Superstar Origins, and why I wanted to get this video to you Sunday morning was because you still have a day to take advantage. So nothing changed in the limited time Superstar Origin sets. Those were intended to be at a cheaper cost while the event is running, because now you can actually acquire all of the master set players from all events anytime you want after the event ends. However, it is a much more expensive cost if you don't do it during the event, which makes sense, and I thought was a great change because it actually allowed players who didn't have 2 weeks to grind the game to go back and collect their favorite cards or cards they might have missed. Now, here is the drastic change. If you go all the way to the end here and it says Master Choice item sets down here, you'd have seen that it was extremely cheap to make the master set. So for example, it cost 130 80 plus overall items to make Austin Matthews or Jaromir Jagr, which at the time worked out 156,000 with the market as it stands right now, whereas 80 overall cards were going for about 1,200 coins. So 156,000 coins may seem like a lot to some players. Maybe you're newer to the game. That's a fraction of what they used to cost in NHL 20, 21, and even 19 all the way back. There has never been a card or a master set that has come out like this where it has been this cheap. And again, for the first time in what seemed like forever, free-to-play players were able to achieve not just some of the master sets or even one of them, but the best ones. So now, while I do think this was a little cheap, I didn't overthink it. I thought that, hey, maybe they were just changing it and trying to go with a little bit easier ways to actually acquire these cards. Now, Victor Hedman, if you go over here, you're going to see this new one that's coming. So right now, if you look on the left-hand side, it says a day, 8 hours, 29 minutes, okay? You can still make Victor Hedman or Tuukka Rask right now, basically, for 84,000 coins, which is incredible value. But when you go over here, you're going to see what the new sets are going to be, and that is a drastic difference. You're talking 220,000 coins to make Victor Hedman or Tuukka Rask. And the Jagr and Matthews one, that was not up, but it looked like it was well over 300, almost running 390,000 now to make Jagr and Matthews, which is in line with what it used to be. In my opinion, those cards now, if you are not able to make them today or before the limited timer runs out, hard avoid. Just way too expensive for Matthews and Jagr, in my opinion. I know I touched on this in the ranking the master sets. Jagr does feel sluggish. He is an incredible card, don't get me wrong, but even at 156,000, I thought that there might have been some better options. At 400,000, it's not even close. Now, again, this is going to change for the 86 as well. The 86, which was an insane value, because I honestly thought they were some of the best cards. 30K basically got you Seth Jones or Suzuki, and Seth Jones is one of the best right-handed defensemen in the game currently. It's going to jump up to 64 required, which will dramatically change the outlook. 78,000 coins now. Jones, still 100% worth the value to make this set. Even if you can't get it today, I would run out and do that, because 76,000 is still okay, but if you can get Seth Jones for that price currently before it runs out, 100% try and do it. Don't rush to do Jagr or Hedman. Make sure you do Seth Jones, because that price is nuts. So now I think why they did this adjustment was because the limited time sets, when you go through all of these paths like I'm doing for Jagr currently, you'll notice that it required a lot, like any gold player, and then it required, like at the end here, it says 187 over player. When you did all the math on it, because all of the specific overall cards impacted the market, it was basically even and actually more expensive to do this set, whereas the one that was staying throughout the whole game, going for 130 just blanket or 80 overall gold cards, was actually cheaper and easier to do. So I see why they impacted and changed it. But man, over double is not it. I'm not a fan of that. I think that and that's without any knowledge either. I mean, at least they gave us a day, which is why I'm making this video, but not a fan of that at all. In my opinion, what they should have done is just release something afterwards saying, hey, this event, they were not intended to be this cheap going forward. Here is the X amount. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, and here we are. What I want to talk about quickly is the market, because this will drastically change the market, because now 80 to 82 overall cards over the next day or so. Again, this is on Sunday. If you're watching this in the future, guys, you can go ahead and ignore it. But if you go ahead and look now, if you're looking at 80 to 82 cards, because again, that's what it costs to make all of them currently, the price is going to start to go up because everyone is going to be trying to rush. So 1200 is what they were going for. And right now, I don't know if anyone didn't notice yet, but if you see any cards for 1200 or under, this is being recorded at 7 in the morning. So if you see throughout the day, I have a big feeling that you're going to see an influx of people trying to buy all of these. So what you need to do is, if you've already made your cards, let's say you have no intention of making any of the master sets, around 8 or 9 p.m. tonight, as the night gets into it, then is when you want to sell, because they should jump up to 12, possibly even more. We'll see. Again, all the markets are different, which makes it really tough for me to just advise, but this is what I want you to watch out for, because that is going to drastically change. It also is going to impact the higher overall ones. So like the 83s and 84s, that's going to change as well, because now the cheaper way to make those, which is the limited sets, that now typically changes, because that is now cheaper to actually make them. So currently 83s are going for under 8,000, which is dope. So just make sure you go ahead and look at and do the math before you make anything. But in my opinion, if you were doing those sets where it's just trade in any of the 80 pluses for Yager and Hedman and all the other ones, the only one that I would rush out to make sure I'd done is Seth Jones. After that, I would really try and get Austin Matthews if you don't have his X Factor. And then following that one, then it's Victor Hedman, in my opinion. So I just wanted to get that out there, guys. Kind of a bad situation, but I hope this just gives you guys some insight and it helps you guys over the next day or so before the sets change. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and have a good one.